This is an iHeart podcast.
Welcome to Pretty Private with Ebony, the podcast where silence is broken and stories are set free. I'm Ebony, and every Tuesday starting July 1st, I'll be sharing all new anonymous stories that will challenge your perceptions and give you new insight on the people around you. Listen to Pretty Private with Ebony starting Tuesday, July 1st on the Black Effect Podcast Network, iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
You know who it is, Brandon Kyle Goodman. But this Pride Month, call me Messy Mother. On my podcast, Tell Me Something Messy, I'm diving into all the juicy stories and sizzling hot tea that'll make you want to live your life liberated and free. Nothing is off the table for our messy kikis. Plus, I'll be joined by star-studded guests like T.S. Madison and dragging messy stories out of guests like the one and only Katya. Ooh, I can't wait to get messy with you. Listen to Tell Me Something Messy on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Show me how good it can get today, God, and show the rest of the world what we already know. It can't get no better than being hella black, hella queer, and hella Christian. My name is Joseph Reeves. I am the creator and host of Hella Black, Hella Queer, Hella Christian, a fully black, fully queer, fully human, fully divine podcast from iHeartMedia. To Hella Black, Hella Queer, Hella Christian on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is coming back to Las Vegas. September 19th and 20th.
On your feet!
Streaming live only on Hulu.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Bryan Adams, Ed Sheeran, Fade, Glorilla, Jelly Roll, Sean Fogerty, Lil Wayne, LL Cool J, Mariah Carey, Maroon 5, Sammy Hagar, Tate McRae, The Offspring, Tim McGraw. Tickets are on sale now at AXS.com. Get your tickets today. AXS.com.
Sometimes as dads, I think we're too hard on ourselves. We get down on ourselves on not being able to, we're the providers, but we also have to learn to take care of ourselves. Arapaho way, you got to pray for yourself as well as for everybody else, but never forget yourself. Self-love made me a better dad because I realized my worth.
Never stop being a dad. That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Time now for today's Strawberry Letter. And listen, if you need advice on relationships, work, sex, parenting, or more, please submit your Strawberry Letter to steveharveyfm.com. All you have to do is click Submit Strawberry Letter. We could be reading your letter live on the air, just like we're going to read this one right here, right now. Never know, it could be yours. Mm-hmm.
It could be. Buckle up and hold on tight. We got it for you. Here it is. Strawberry Letter.
Thank you, nephew. Subject, he needs some friends. Dear Steve and Shirley, my husband and I are in our late 40s and we've been married for 20 years. We have one son that was active in sports and he worked with my husband, helping to build his trucking business. Our son is 19 years old and he recently left the nest and moved about 2 hours from us to be closer to school. He decided to change his major and transfer to a better school for his degree program, and I was ecstatic. My husband tried to make him stay closer to home, and I had to talk some sense into him so our son could pursue his dreams. As soon as my son moved into his new place in his new city, my husband went into a depressed mood, and I did my best to keep him company and entertain him as much as I could. I realized that my husband does not have real friends. He has guys that work with him and my son. He stopped talking to his buddies while he was getting his business going, so they eventually stopped coming around. All he did was go to our son's games, go out to eat with our son, work with our son, and watch movies with our son. It's hard for my husband to sit home and relax without trying to FaceTime our son. My son sent me a text telling me that he was moving in with his girlfriend and he's hoping his dad will reconnect with his friends so he won't call him so much. I didn't tell my husband about the text because I didn't want to crush him. Yesterday, he said that we should go visit my son for Easter, and I made up a lot of excuses why we shouldn't. The only thing that keeps him occupied is sex, but I'm not going to keep doing that all the time, so he needs his friends. Should I plan a play date for him? How do I get him out of this house more? You're certainly right about one thing, and that's the subject of your letter. The subject is he needs some friends, and your husband really, really does need some friends. I mean, I'm happy that your husband and son are really, really close, but this is way too much. I mean, your son moved away to live his life and follow his dreams. And you've been an excellent wife who's tried to fill in the blanks of the void in your husband's feeling, but no matter what you do, that isn't enough. And you and your son obviously can't go on like this because your son has a real girlfriend now and he won't be coming back or having you guys over anytime soon. I mean, notice, your son didn't invite you guys over for Easter. Your husband said you're going. I say instead of planning a date, because you asked about planning a play date for your husband, plan a party, plan a dinner, invite some of his old friends that he used to work with and some of his old buddies. I mean, he has some from the past. Maybe invite them over, see if they'll come. You got to find out what they're doing. Invite some other couples over. Try to connect. Try to, get some parties going, a dinner going, something, so it could distract him from being so needy where your son is. I've really never heard of this before. A father being so attached to his son that he won't let go like this. I mean, all kids leave the nest eventually. But if you have a dinner party or a house party or something, maybe that way you can slowly get your husband to start hanging out with his guy friends, or some people his age at least. And that's all I have, Steve.
Well, he needs some friends. See, this letter right here, I don't have to write a lot of notes on this. I know all of this right here. Mm-hmm. Y'all in your late 40s, been married 20 years. You only got one son, active in sports, and he worked with your husband. See, I'm setting this up because I want you to understand what's happening. Helping to build his trucking business. Okay, our son is 19 years old, and he recently left the nest and moved about 2 hours from us to be closer to school. He decided to change his major and transfer to a better school for his degree program, and I was ecstatic. Well, let me help you understand something. Your son escaped. See,
yes.
Your son escaped. That's really what happened. The boy at 19 decided he wasn't be no truck driver. I don't want to drive no truck. I don't want to pick up no load. I don't want to be sitting there at the dispatch desk monitoring loads and all this here. This ain't what I want, Daddy. Mm-hmm. So now I'm going 2 hours away. I'm going to move closer, and I'm going to change major. I'm going to go to a whole nother school. I'm trying to escape. My husband tried to make him stay closer to home, and I had to talk some sense into him so our son could pursue his dreams. Okay, I understand that too, but you gotta let this boy go. He don't want to be in the trucking business. Want to drive no truck? Sitting up here hauling stuff.
So over it.
This your dream, Daddy. As soon as my son moved into his new place in the new city, my husband went into a depressed mood, and I did my best to keep him company and entertainment as much as I could. I realized that my husband does not have any real friends. Well, your husband's whole life was tied to his son. Sporting events, active, and all like that. It gave him purpose. It's like when you leave a mama. But the problem we have, and Shirley, you never heard of this, you've all heard of mama's boy. But this is a daddy's boy. But it's the reverse of mama's boy. Mama boys is a boy that's attached to their mama and attached by the apron strings and umbilical cord and can't get him loose, and he can't have a relationship with a woman because his relationship with his mama too close. Well, a daddy's boy is the direct opposite. It's a father tied to his son, and he can't function without the son. The son then decided, I'm not driving no truck.
Hold on, Steve. Hold on.
I'm moving out.
Part two. We'll have part two of your response coming up at 23 minutes after the hour. The subject of today's Strawberry Letter, he needs some friends. We'll get back into it right after this.
You're listening to the Steve Harvey Morning Show. Just like great shoes, great books take you places. Through unforgettable love stories and into conversations with characters you'll never forget.
I think any good romance, it gives me this feeling of like butterflies.
I'm Danielle Robay, and this is Bookmarked by Reese's Book Club, the new podcast from Hello Sunshine and iHeart Podcasts. Every week, I sit down with your favorite book lovers, authors, celebrities, book talkers, and more to explore the stories that shape us, on the page and off. I've been reading every Reese's Book Club pick, deep diving book talk theories, and obsessing over book-to-screen casts for years. And now, I get to talk to the people making the magic. So if you've ever fallen in love with a fictional character, or cried at the last chapter, or passed a book to a friend saying, you have to read this podcast is for you. Listen to Bookmarked by Reese's Book Club on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
You know who it is, Brandon Kyle Goodman. But this Pride Month, call me Messy Mother. On my podcast, Tell Me Something Messy, I'm diving into all the juicy stories and sizzling hot tea that'll make you want to live your life liberated and free. Nothing is off the table for our messy kikis, be it cringy dates, best sex practices, family drama, or cultivating self-love. Plus, I'll be joined by star-studded guests like T.S. Madison. How can we not judge ourselves?
You just gotta tell yourself, like, girl, how old are you, bitch? And I love me a lot because
Oh, you do?
Bitch, I love these motherfucking back rolls. What are this? Back rolls.
Back rolls. And dragging messy stories out of guests like the one and only Katya.
I also got into the habit of wearing butt plugs to the gym.
Tell me about that.
Well, and I also work out with butt plugs in quite a bit because, like,
tell me everything.
Well, it's just first, it feels good.
Yes.
And then second, it's like my little secret.
TMI, please tell me more. Every week, we'll create a compassionate space to share the fullness of who we are. Ooh, I can't wait to get messy with you. Listen to Tell Me Something Messy on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Show me how good it can get today, God, and show the rest of the world what we already know. It can't get no better than being hella black, hella queer, and hella Christian. My name is Joseph Reeves. I am the creator and host of Hella Black, Hella Queer, Hella Christian, a fully black, fully queer, fully human, fully divine podcast that explores society, culture, and the intersections of faith and identity. Listen to Hella Black, Hella Queer, Hella Christian to hear conversations about what it means to sound the way you look.
I think what I've had to make peace with is that every iteration of my voice is given to me by God, and I love it.
Books that validated our identity.
The library now for me is a safe space as someone who is writing books that they're trying to take off of shelves.
And how we, as black queer folks, relate to our Christianity. Listen to Hella Black, Hella Queer, Hella Christian on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Erin Welsh, an ecologist and epidemiologist.
And I'm Erin Allman-Updike, also an epidemiologist.
On our show, This Podcast Will Kill You, we cover everything from the biology of deadly diseases to the weird history behind them, all with a healthy dose of humor.
Like the time we made a surprising discovery about scabies. When you look at pictures of, especially these particular mites, they look more like tardigrades, like water bears, than they do ticks.
Absolutely do, yeah.
They're kind of cute.
Or when we used a classic movie reference to explain allergy tests.
An allergist will inject teeny tiny amounts of the thing that they're allergic to underneath their skin.
It's just like iocane powder in The Princess Bride, but it works.
And our COVID-19 series was even added to the CDC Museum archives. So need I say more?
New episodes drop every Tuesday on the Exactly Right Network.
Listen to This Podcast Will Kill You on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We are telling our scientists today, we have disdain for your expertise. And then you have China as an exception saying, actually, we're going to invest $1 trillion in new science.
Yeah, you heard that right. While the U.S. is cutting billions from science and public health, China is making historic investments. That means here in the U.S., fewer breakthroughs, slower medical advances, and a serious risk of falling behind globally.
I don't think anything about that is efficient. I think that it is actually profoundly inefficient.
And she would know. Chelsea Clinton is using her expertise in public health to break down what these cuts really mean and why protecting science isn't just smart policy, it's a necessity.
This week on Dope Labs, we're putting it all under the microscope with Chelsea Clinton, diving into what's at stake for science, medicine, and our future.
Listen to Dope Labs on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
There's a recent ZipRecruiter survey that says 76% of all employers plan to hire for 2025 this year. And if you're hiring, add ZipRecruiter's latest feature, Zip Intro, to your plan. It's easy. You just pick a time and Zip Intro finds and schedules qualified candidates for you. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/strawberry. That's ZipRecruiter.com/strawberry. All right, come on, Steve. Let's recap today's Strawberry Letter. The subject is he needs some friends.
Well, let's look at this. This is this woman and husband have been married for 20 years, only got one boy. The man's whole life was wrapped around his son, sporting events, everything. And his dream and vision was have his son involved in the trucking business. They were building a business together. As soon as this boy got 19 and was able to make a decision, vote and go to war, he decided that he gonna move about 2 hours away from y'all because he tired of this here. Because they don't want to be in the trucking business. Your boy don't want to drive trucks. He got a new dream and a new vision. Got another degree program. The mother was ecstatic. Your husband tried to make him stay and talk some sense into him so his son could pursue his dreams. Well, when the son moved into his new place in the new city, your husband went into a depression, and I kept trying to keep him company and entertain him best you could. And then you realize that your husband don't have real friends. What you should have realized that your husband is a daddy's boy. See, a daddy's boy. See, you got a mama's boy, but you got daddy's boy too. That's when the father's attached to the son. He had his whole life wrapped around the boy. He was living vicariously through the son.
That's really a thing, Steve?
No, I just made that up just now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, is that really a thing? Because I've never heard
okay. Well, it's very, very rare.
Mm-hmm.
It's very rare, but it is the direct opposite of a mama's boy.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But a daddy's boy, there are men who are attached and live vicariously through their sons, go to all sporting events and all like this in their whole life. And then a lot of sons move out and get on their own and their dad become depressed. That's really real. I don't know if it's called a daddy's boy, but that's what we calling it for this letter. But I know I know a couple of friends of mine that live their life like that. Sons really involved in athletics, went on to college and everything. He didn't go pro, and that knocked their out because that's all he had his whole, that was his retirement plan.
Okay. All right.
So anyway,
thank you.
So now, while he was building the business with his son, he was getting his business going. Then all his friends stopped coming around because he was busy. All he did was go to your son's games, go to eat with your son, work out with your son, watch movies with our son. It's hard for my husband to sit home and relax without trying to FaceTime our son who lives away. Now, here's the dangerous part. Watch this. My son sent me a text telling me that he was moving in with his girlfriend, and he's hoping his dad will reconnect with his friend so he won't call him so much. Okay, let me tell you what's happening here. That boy that moved in with this girl. That daddy always FaceTiming. Daddy gonna FaceTime at some inappropriate moments. Because this boy 19. They in that house like rabbits. Most of the time, they're going to be doing something. And your daddy going to be FaceTiming, and the boy can't pick the phone. Daddy, huh?
No.
Daddy, hold on. Wait a minute, Daddy. Wait a minute.
No.
Now he done told his mama, you got to talk to Daddy, get him reconnected so he ain't got to call me no more. Now, you didn't want to tell your husband about the text because you didn't want to crush him.
Crush him, yeah.
But he a grown man. You gotta go, hey, look, you calling him too much. He want to live his life. He done moved his girl in now. He in love with this girl. Now, yesterday he said he want to go visit his son for Easter. What?
You can't.
Your son ain't got no babies. You ain't going to see your grandkids. Your son 19. He ain't even going to come home for Easter. Him and that girl, let me tell you what they finna do on Easter. Uh-oh. She finna dress up like a bunny rabbit, and he finna hide eggs all over the house, and they gonna have an Easter egg hunt. And every time she pick up an egg, he gonna reward her with this special made bunny suit. See, that's what they finna do on Easter. They ain't even gonna eat on Easter.
They have
So
the Easter
please
egg
don't
hunt.
go.
They just gonna have a basket with candy in it. They're gonna be feeding each other. Boy, he finna have the best Easter he ever had without your daddy.
Daddy's boy.
Yeah. And then she gonna tell me, so you made up a lot of excuses why we shouldn't go, and the only thing that keeps him occupied is sex. But I'm not gonna keep doing that all the time. So he needs his friends. Should I plan a play date for him? How do I get him out of the house more? You have to plan a play date.
Yeah.
You gotta contact his friends and go, hey, look, Herbert, he ain't been paying y'all no attention cause he really misses y'all and want to get out the house. Now, we need a barbecue. We need a card night, poker. We need a boys' night out. When do y'all go to the strip club? But you got to get Herbert out of this house and get his mind occupied.
That's right.
He needs some friends. You got to call his friends and get in touch with them. Tell them that he's depressed and he need to get out the house. And let him go ahead. You got to go bowling. So go bowling night, man. Go get you in a go to the gym and work out with your friend.
Yeah.
Go what?
Go to a basketball game.
No, then he gonna start crying, Shirley, because he used to go with all his games with his son. Let me do this, Shirley. You finna throw the man into a depression. Shirley, stop. You finna. They don't live in the NBA city. This ain't from no NBA city town.
It did not say that.
They live in Willowine, Virginia, somewhere like that. This is
They don't.
Say nobody writing in from Atlanta or New York or nothing like this. This ain't no New York problem. This is a small town problem where a man got his life wrapped around his son. This is a small town problem.
All right, Steve.
Know that.
Hit us up on Instagram at Steve Harvey FM to comment on today's Strawberry Letter. You can also check out the Strawberry Letter podcast on demand.
You're listening to the Steve Harvey Morning Show.
Welcome to Pretty Private with Ebony, the podcast where silence is broken and stories are set free. I'm Ebony, and every Tuesday starting July 1st, I'll be sharing all new anonymous stories that will challenge your perceptions and give you new insight on the people around you. Listen to Pretty Private with Ebony starting Tuesday, July 1st on the Black Effect Podcast Network, iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
You know who it is, Brandon Kyle Goodman. But this Pride Month, call me Messy Mother. On my podcast, Tell Me Something Messy, I'm diving into all the juicy stories and sizzling hot tea that'll make you want to live your life liberated and free. Nothing is off the table for our messy kikis. Plus, I'll be joined by star-studded guests like T.S. Madison and dragging messy stories out of guests like the one and only Katya. Ooh, I can't wait to get messy with you. Listen to Tell Me Something Messy on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Show me how good it can get today, God, and show the rest of the world what we already know. It can't get no better than being hella black, hella queer, and hella Christian. My name is Joseph Reeves. I am the creator and host of Hella Black, Hella Queer, Hella Christian, a fully black, fully queer, fully human, fully divine podcast from iHeartMedia. To Hella Black, Hella Queer, Hella Christian on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Looking for your next obsession?
Listen to High Key, a new weekly podcast hosted by
Ben O'Keefe,
Ryan Mitchell, and Evie Oddly.
We got a lot of things to get into. We're going to gush about the random stuff we can't stop thinking about. I am high key going to lose my mind over all things Cowboy Carter.
I know.
Girl, the way she about to yank my bank account.
Correct. And one thing I really love about this is that she's celebrating her daughters.
Oh, I know.
Listen to High Key on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Here's the deal. We gotta set ourselves up. See, retirement is the long game. We gotta make moves and make them early. Set up goals. Don't worry about a setback. Just save up and stack up to reach them. Let's put ourselves in the right position. Pre-game to greater things.
Start building your retirement plan at thisispretirement.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
This is an iHeart podcast.